Hey everybody, welcome back to our sports segment. We're so happy to see y'all. It's Masie and Jay.
Hello.
And today we're joined by two special guests. We have two new interns here at UCP. They're going to be staying with us until the end of the semester, which is going to be around November, October-ish. So we're super happy to have them here with us, helping out. They've been a big help lately. And so I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hey guys, my name's Allison. Like she said, I'm interning here from the University of Alabama. I am a senior in the School of Social Work, so I plan to be a social worker. Really excited to meet you guys.
Hi, I'm Audrey. I'm also a senior here at the University of Alabama. Roll Tide. I'm majoring in social work right now, and I'm just really excited to get to know you guys. Just see where this goes. So, Roll Tide.
Yeah, awesome. I think they're going to be a great addition here to UCP. They've already helped us out so much in the last 3 days they've been here, so I'm super excited to see what the future holds. So today we're going to be talking about some different things going on in the sports world as usual. We've got some new information about the NCAA football regulations. Got some info of what's going on in the NFL, what's going on in the soccer world, because crazy over there right now in Barcelona. So first, let's start off with what's happening in the NFL. Joseph, what do you have to report for the NFL today?
The NFL is looking at some changes when it comes to the mandates for the stadiums across their league. They're watching college very closely to see about the percentages that the colleges are allowing in their stadium, so they themselves can do it. But as of today, there hasn't been like a universal mandate for attendance in the NFL, and it's causing some problems among some teams. Like there are teams discussing the advantages that other teams will have if they are allowed to have fans. Just imagine going on the road and playing a team that has 80,000 people in their stadium, and then that same team comes to play you in your stadium and you have none. So it kind of skews the home field advantage situation in the NFL. One of those teams is the Cowboys, of course. Jerry Jones is most definitely going to take every advantage he can to get those Cowboys back to their glory days. But he has stated that he wants his fans to be able to enjoy football the same way they have enjoyed it in the past. The NFL is looking at changing some mandates, but as of right now, there has not been a universal mandate, and there are some teams very upset with this because there will be some advantages had when the season starts. So I would say look for the NFL to try to do a universal attendance policy across the board. This is going to upset some teams. I'm sure some owners are going to be very angry when it comes to the money that they will lose, also the advantages that other teams will have. So please look out for that. I'm very interested to see how they're going to handle this situation.
Yeah, I definitely think that'll be interesting to see how they're going to keep it fair across the board. Because, I mean, I don't know if anybody else has been to an NFL game, but the prices of just food there and everything is just it's astronomical, and that's where they get a lot of their money at. So not having these fans, they still get the TV deals, but not having fans to buy stuff from the concession, that's going to affect it a lot, especially in these huge facilities they have.
Exactly. Saying the whole season, no fans, you're going to lose out on millions of fans of dollars.
Yeah.
And so we understand, the financial ramifications. But right now, due to this pandemic that we're in, safety comes first.
For sure.
Sports is an entertainment, and we would love to have our sports back. Trust us, we would love to have our sports back. But once we get it back, we just have to make sure we do it in a safe way. And so I'm just interested to see how in a league that really, holds itself to a higher standard when it comes to sports, how they're going to take care of their fans in this situation. So I'm just wondering, this is going to be huge. Closer to mid-September, you're going to hear more and more about teams complaining about going into stadiums, having to fight 80,000 fans, and then that same team coming to their stadium, and there's a mandate in their state about COVID, about being out, about social distancing and whatnot, and they're not allowed to have people in their stadium.
Yeah.
it's going to be anarchy in the NFL when it starts.
Completely agree. Well, I definitely have to keep an eye out on that and see what happens with the NFL. What is the NCAA trying to decide for basketball? What's the plan there?
NCAA is in a weird space. Like the NCAA basketball is in a weird space. They missed out on their March Madness for 2020, and due to COVID. And as 2021 starts to creep its head around the corner, some coaches is wondering, are we even going to be out of this pandemic by then?
Yeah.
If we're not, or if the numbers are still going up and back down and going back up and back down, how are we going to have March Madness? And college campuses is like a hotbed for COVID where people are all around each other, doing what we do in college or whatever, just enjoying life. It happens and it's going to happen. So what are the NCAA basketball going to do? They are most definitely looking into this bubble situation. They have researchers, they have NCAA heads are down there in Orlando right now with the NBA. They are learning and taking in all the information they can. They are bent on making sure that the March Madness take place in 2021.
Yeah.
They want this bubble situation. They will try to make it happen. One of those places that has been thrown out there is Arizona. So they're looking at Arizona as a possible bubble place for the NCAA. This is another thing I would say look out for. College basketball, March Madness is one of those events that even if you're not a sports fan, you stick your you turn the remote on,
Your team.
you turn your TV on there, you pick your team,
Yeah.
you do you pick teams to win,
Your
you
bracket
get
and
your
all
bracket
that.
filled
Yeah,
out, Final Four. It's like a huge deal. So
for sure.
I can see why they would want March Madness to come about.
Yeah.
So look out for a bubble in NCAA basketball in 2021. Yeah.
Do you, ladies, y'all are in college. What do you think about that? Do you feel like that would be effective? For college students, do you feel like that would be taking away from the college students for them to be in this bubble for a large amount of time? Because I know a lot of people in the NBA are struggling with that, being away from their families for 3 months. I was reading an article about a player whose wife went into labor and had her child, and he had to be on FaceTime
Right.
because he's in the bubble.
And there was a player, just recently came out last night about the mental health that he suffered and having to battle with anxiety being in the bubble. The bubble is not going to be easy at all. Like some people think it's just glorified vacation, but just imagine being on quarantine for 3 months inside a bubble with the same individuals every day, all day, and not allowed to be out to go see family. It could be, extremely stressful.
Yeah. Do y'all think that would be effective? Do y'all think that college students could do that? Do you think it's worth it?
I mean, I think they could do it, but like y'all said, I think it would be very taxing on them, especially their mental health, because they're already so dedicated to their sport that it's tied into their schooling and their funding for it. So they go to morning practices, afternoon practices, they're with it all day, every day. So the little bit of time where they get to go home after practice and kind of socialize with their friends and their family is kind of their high point in their day sometimes. And if you take that away, then it might just kind of make it worse for them.
That's a great point.
Yeah, that is a very good point because they do live, eat, and breathe their sport right now, but they're able to have that off time to go and socialize with friends and still be a college student as much as they can. If you take them to this bubble, they don't get any of that
I
college
don't get
experience.
that. I see, and some of them even have talked about that in the past, like going to go get a haircut. It's like, it's like a relief for them. They get a chance for that moment to just be with a couple of friends and be able to have barbershop conversation. So now you take that away and you only have this bubble barbershop. It's still the same individuals, the same people every day. It can become taxing on the mind. And sports figures, which you made a great point, Allison, about that. This is what they do every day, sports. So you start taking the mental away from them, then they play suffer on the field or on the court. And then what type of product are we having? And it could be damaging for their future when they're trying to make it to the next level.
That's a good point for me. I guess moving on from that, we're going to kind of talk about just the NBA basketball, which we touched a little bit about the bubble and about, people
Right.
having to struggle with mental health and just being able to feel free
Yeah.
while you are pursuing the dream. So, but
Well,
what other information you got?
that's been, I mean, the thing in the NBA right now in the playoffs. It's been like one of those surprises has been the play of the Clippers that they kind of down and playing lackluster basketball. And Paul George finally admitted that he's been battling depression and some anxiety in this bubble. So he broke out last night for a big game, and I'm sure Clipper fans was happy to see that. Um, the Lakers did a huge tribute to Kobe, 824, and they wore their black jerseys in remembrance of the Black Mamba. You could see them all throughout the game, pointed up to the sky at Kobe, hitting their heart 2 times for the daughter, for his daughter Gigi. They had a spot over there on the bench where he would sit at and where his daughter would sit at. They left those seats open for them. I thought the the this day commitment of them and that camaraderie that they had showed and just that brotherhood of missing their brother Kobe was it was I don't know, it was heartwarming to see, and they played for him, and they won the game. It was a big win for them. But rest in peace to Kobe and GG. Our heart still goes out to them too, and everybody who suffered a loss that day in that tragic accident.
It's still pretty fresh.
Right.
All we've been through. It's still within this year. It's very fresh. It's very real.
Right.
Extremely tragic. So I'm glad that they did something.
I am too. I was happy to see that. Happy to see the win. I'm a huge Laker fan, so it was good to see. I will continue to tell everybody to watch the games. The games have been good. The Bucks getting ready to try to move on. I would, I would love. People ask me since we've been doing this, do you got a surprise team for me? Do you got a team to watch? And I said, every week I'm gonna give you a team to look out for. This week it's the Miami Heat. I'm letting everybody know that the Miami Heat is coming. They might be playing the Bucks the second round, but the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler, they are coming. So do your homework on Jimmy Butler. He's one of those players that flies under the radar, superstardom. You know what I mean? But he's such an amazing player on both sides of the court. So check out Jimmy Butler. Check out the Miami Heat. I think they're gonna give the Milwaukee Bucks a nice go at it this next round.
Yeah, and he's also a really nice guy too.
He is. Right.
That just is the icing on the cake. All right. All right. So let's channel back towards the NCAA and let's talk about the football season that everyone's kind of been on edge about, not really knowing what's going on. Ladies, can you give us some information about what's going on with Alabama football, their first game?
Yeah, I actually wrote down a few stats and facts about Missouri. That's going to be the first team that we play. Their record last year was 6-6, so they had 6 wins, 6 losses, pretty even. They had a 1-year bowl ban last year because of the violations, so they didn't get to participate in the bowl. But the years before that, they lost the past 2 bowl games. Not very good. They have 2 on offense returning and 8 on defense returning for this year that were on the last year's team. So strength that they have is that they are number 14 in the nation in defense. So they have most of their players coming back for that. And a weakness for that is they have a completely new offense. So they will have all new players, and they have young and inexperienced coaches, and they're number 51 in recruiting in the nation. So they're a little bit lower on the totem pole with that.
Well, hopefully all those stats will mean that it won't be too challenging of a game for us.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I know we're still trying to figure out our whole quarterback situation. So I'm happy to hear that we're not about to go up against
A very stout team.
Yes, I think we definitely need, even though I always believe in Alabama and I know we'll always win, but, I do think sometimes that first game, especially with everything going on, if we can play a game that's a little bit easier, that would be good.
For us.
Good adjustment, get our feet wet.
Get our feet wet, get in there, get a W. Missouri in the past has been extremely pass happy. They are an extreme pass happy team. So to hear that they have a brand new offense and some young inexperienced coaches is good news, because Missouri is definitely a team that you will look over and they will come in and hang up 40 on you quick.
Yeah.
So we have to So all of us being Bama fans, hopefully we can get in there and get that W from Missouri because they definitely one of those hit or miss teams. And I guarantee you,
Yeah.
if we beat Missouri, watch out for them in like the next week or the third week, where they will definitely beat somebody 47-17 because they have that type of talent when they gel it all together.
Mm-hmm. That's the hard thing, is making all parts work at the same
Right.
time. So I think it's going to be a good game. Audrey, you got some more information for us about the actual game?
Right now, I know our big concern is COVID. I know everybody's really concerned about COVID and what are we going to do to follow the state and federal regulations. So right now they have attendance rate at 20%, and they're going to make sure that they have face barriers and face shields in place for all staff and all fans. They're also going to be following the social distancing, and every entrance and every exit way will have a hands-free device. When it comes down to entering the games, all entrances will be digital, and they're just trying to make sure that they follow all the guidelines when it comes down to state. Football is very important, but so is the health and safety of our staff, our team. Our first game is supposed to be September 26th. And I know everyone is really excited, as I am myself, but I'm also concerned about COVID because there has been a spike that's been going on right now. And I just concerned right now is safety. And this is my biggest concern at this point.
Yeah, I think that's everyone's big concern. And two, we've kind of been living in our own bubble, I think. No one's really been traveling that much. Everyone's kind of been staying at home as much as possible. So I think everyone's kind of a little nervous about going to away games or having away games, and traveling to another state and having people come into our state for home games. I think it's kind of like this feeling of everyone's kind of been staying at home, and now, we're starting to branch out, and it's a little scary. So I'm glad to hear that they've got some good regulations in place, and they're thinking this through because I think if we don't have some good regulations and everyone just goes to the game, we're going to see a huge spike in cases, and we might have to close down again, which would
nobody wants that.
Yeah, which is not ideal at all. So
and I like the digital in the
ticket
way. Yeah, the digital ticket thing is a nice idea. Hopefully everybody get a hold to that idea and start doing that.
Well, and I think that's one of the things that we'll see from COVID things changing and staying. I feel like that's something that we were already with the technological era we're in. We were already kind of phasing towards that. So now that it's kind of like you need to do that, I think it's going to be a standard everywhere.
I think my biggest concern though is it really going to be enough?
Yeah.
I think that's a concern that a lot of people have. Like, everything's going to be hands free. Yes, there's not going to be, us touching doors to get in and out of interest anymore. But is it really going to be enough when it's at 20% capacity rate? But 20% of what number though?
Yeah, you have, I think Alabama, we have like 101,000. Our capacity for our stadium. So you're still going to have about 21,000 people in that stadium, which is, it's a good amount, and especially if you don't have people distancing.
And the tailgating along with actually going to the game.
Because I know at UA, they're not allowing any tailgating this fall, but other places, it's just based on school's preference. And then also, how do you regulate that? You can't. I just don't imagine them going to every single front yard and making sure everyone's socially distancing, and it's just not possible. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
A learning curve for us all.
I completely agree, for sure. All right, let's move on to soccer. So we've got some big news coming out of Barcelona. Lionel Messi recently sent over in a fax his resignation from the Barcelona soccer team. So he's been there for about 20 years. So that's why it's really a big deal, because he's been there for so long. He has a contract with them, I believe, for $850 million. But in the contract, there's actually a clause that each year he can decide if he wants to get out of the contract. Well, due to COVID and the season changing and all that, Barcelona is trying to fight that he doesn't have that right. That clause isn't in effect. So it's going to be a big legal issue. But there's some reports saying that he's actually going to move to Manchester City Soccer Club. So we'll see what happens there. But I mean, he's been there at Barcelona for 20 years. They've kind of built a team around him. And so it could be a big hit with Barcelona. Granted, too, they didn't have a great season this last season, and so they're kind of already on the downward spiral.
Right.
So I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, but
But when you're talking about Messi, just to relate it to like you know what I mean to in our country, like 'cause, you know he gets swept under the rug
Yeah.
sometimes as far as his stardom. But just imagine like in the '90s or whatnot, Michael Jordan moving from the Chicago Bulls and saying to the Chicago Bulls, I'm not playing with you guys right now or whatever. I'm moving to New York to play with the New York Knicks. This is almost like the same thing. Messi is a huge star across the way. He's like probably one of the biggest, well-known soccer players in the world. I want to say if he's not number one in scoring, he's like number two next to Ronaldo. But he's
yeah, Ronaldo.
but he's an incredible player, and it's like it's huge news over there in Barcelona.
Yeah.
And him moving to Manchester is a huge deal.
It is.
So you know,
It is. Joseph's a Ronaldo fan. I'm not.
hey,
Messi fan. Yeah. See, so there's that.
yeah,
Yeah, this is definitely going to be. I'm sure people in Spain are losing their minds because
Right.
it is. I think soccer is bigger over there than football is here, honestly. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
it's like
for
a
sure.
whole
I
nother
appreciate it.
level.
Yeah,
Also, too, like no one really understands football except for Americans because
right.
it's just a strange sport that we all love.
And,
It's like hockey in Canada.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
It's a big deal. Like you know, man, we looking this up recently, but soccer is like the number one sport in the world. Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, the number one sport in the world, the number one player in this sport, moving to a place where he probably would play at a rival spot in Manchester, it's going to be a huge deal. Like I said, it's like losing Michael Jordan to a rival.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. Because the man, if he can't do nothing else, he's going to put the ball in the goal. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talented. So we'll see how that goes, especially with the deal too. I don't know.
And we have to think what initiative he'll have to want to, like, if they force him to stay through like legal obligations,
Mhm.
like what initiative will he have
For the team.
for the team if he
Right.
did want to stay at it in the first place?
If you're
Right.
being
That's-
forced to do something, you're not going to play at your full potential.
Exactly.
That's a
It's just
great
not how
point.
that goes. Yeah, that is a great point.
They're going to risk injury for a team that you totally say you don't want to play for.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then too, how do your teammates feel about that? Knowing that you don't want to be on their team. I feel like that would kind of hurt the morale a little bit of the team.
Yeah, it will. But as athletes, they'll say there's a switch they go off when they get on the field.
Mm.
True.
There's a switch they go off when they get on the court or whatnot. Like they just play.
They just
and
love the game.
fast. And
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what he plays, I'm sure he's gonna,
That
you
is
know,
true.
play ball, but his heart gonna be somewhere else.
True. And it could affect his skills.
Definitely.
So to round up our segment, we are going to do on this day. So on this day in 2016, Colin Kaepernick he kneeled for the first time during the national anthem at an NFL game. And this movement spurred a lot of criticism, a lot of praise. A lot of people, felt like his silent protest was a great way to protest. A lot of people saw it as disrespectful. And in the end, it ended up affecting his NFL career. And so it was 4 years ago today that he did made that stance. And
Wow.
we're now seeing in sports today many different professionals teams making that same stance of kneeling during the national anthem. So, I mean, could you imagine 4 years ago when he did this and there was just so much uproar?
I really did. Like, the hit that he took career wise 4 years ago was probably like unlike anything I have seen. Somebody at one of the top NFL players in the league, the quarterback for a team. Granted, he was a couple years removed from playing at the Super Bowl, but he pretty much kneeled down and gave his career for social justice. And, it's commendable. Like, I think he got a bad rap with saying that he was like downplaying the flag and people missed the message of what the kneel was really about. And as we see years pass, so social justice issues continue to render an ugly head in our society, and with the death of George Floyd, kind of got on full display of what he was really kneeling about, and people was making that correlation of him kneeling and somebody having a policeman kneel on the back of his neck, and it just kind of spewed this passion across the country, across the world, frankly, that we haven't seen if ever. So I just like this always salute Colin Kaepernick for having that forward, for being a forward thinker and being a champion of social justice. That fight goes on as things in the news still come up every other day. And I like to just, urge athletes or anybody with a platform to utilize your platform and speak your truth, and don't let silence be, who you are. If you're silent, you're complicit to what's going on. So I would tell you, speak your truth. Utilize your platform and get out there. And and just granted, the Toronto Raptors, uh, I must give them a shout out and salute to them, because they're right now orchestrating either a sit-in or a ban, or where they are protesting playing playoff games due to the injustices of the young man that was shot 7 times in the back in Wisconsin. So to even be able to just do that and understand that you have a voice and a platform and want to go, to be that social conscious and, throw money out the window to get something heard says a lot. So I commend the Toronto Raptors for, being forward thinkers and movers in this situation. Uh, and it started back in the day with Muhammad Ali and people after that. But to see Colin Kaepernick carry that torch was a beautiful thing 4 years ago. So hopefully he gets a job. NFL do right. NFL do something right and get Colin Kaepernick back in the NFL, please. Thank you.
I think even the WNBA, the Women's National Basketball Association, they've been doing each of their games
Yes.
have been for people that have been killed. So they did with Breonna Taylor and a few different things, kind of doing moments of silence and recognition and all that. So
And they have been wonderful
Yeah.
in this. Like I think Maya Moore is not even playing right now. Like her season gave it up for like social justice, just to be able to do that. And a couple more players said they wasn't gonna play. You know what I mean? And just in the fight for social justice, and I'm not gonna go out there and play. You know what I mean? I want to use this platform and say I will sit out for social justice, and it has been beautiful to watch. So salute to those ladies as well, because everybody with a voice needs to be heard to get this point across.
I think all sports teams have really stepped up in the last few months. So it's good to see people using their platform for something good.
Yes.
So happy to see that. Does anybody else have anything else to add for our segment today? Well, thank you guys for joining us and watching. I hope you all enjoyed the segment. We'll have another one next week. We'll kind of let you know what's going on in the world of sports next week. If anything, exciting has happened, we'll keep you up to date with it. Any breaking news. Thank y'all for joining, and we hope to see y'all next week.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.